end file that they're going to have to work through. Because a lot of times, if you're both, as a freelancer, as an like another agency, you're both external and you're both working through the person in the middle. If that person in the middle isn't communicating effectively, both of you on the ends now have the most difficult time having to work through them to get what you need. So a lot of times here, what I'll do also is just say, hey, based on what you're saying, if you have this print partner or something, can you put me directly in contact with them? Feel free to like keep yourself on the email just so you can see what's happening. But if I have a direct line to them, I can more easily help you to work through any difficulties in file handoffs as it happens. And again, if you're messaging it as like a soft way, you can say, maybe not necessarily I've messed up stuff in the past, but like I've seen difficulties here in the past. And so I want you to be aware that if you put me in direct contact with them, this process will be infinitely smoother. So you're just constantly like, how do I be a partner and how do I add value so that they're more aware of the fact that you're not only trying to help yourself, but you're helping them in the process. Another question that I'll typically ask is around yes or no. And this seems super simple, but I think it's one that you can kind of glance over pretty easily. With this specific piece, I'm more so trying to think through who's been in this position before me. And a lot of times what I've noticed is, especially nowadays with platforms like Fiverr and some of these more crowdsourcing platforms, what you'll get is clients that are trying to get the most bang for their buck out of a cheap platform before they're likely to hire a designer. And what usually happens there is they get burned way harder than they ever thought they were going to, because they have no idea that they're getting the worst files, the worst service like that they could possibly get delivered. They don't think about all these little nuanced things that are happening within the nooks and crannies of these processes and how much information you have as a designer or a creative that they're not being given through a platform like Fiverr. So when you think about that, it's like, okay, maybe this person worked with a designer or a creative before, and maybe it was through a platform like Fiverr, or maybe it was just someone that was more junior that hadn't thought through some of this stuff. And, it created a bad taste in their mouth of like, I've worked with 5 designers in the past and I've always had an issue with X, X, and X. It's like, okay, now coming into that situation, that's something that you have to work through whether you like it or not. And so the way that I work around that is to say, all right, I understand. I've seen this happen before. Like, what can I do to be a better partner to you? Are there things that this other person did, whether that's communicating or through, the creation process, that you didn't like? Tell me more about your experience with these processes in the past. And just starting to pull out more information about like, what did they not like? What were things that went wrong? So that when you're working through it, it's not as much about specific deliverables and more just like, how do I work with this person as a human? Because if they don't like you